displaying the glory of God's creation by exploring America one park at a time. Welcome to Parking Full Time with Big Dave, the park's professor. 10th hole. The par and distance are at the top of the screen. This hole plays moderately uphill. It's pretty straight if you're playing to the long basket, which you can see up ahead. The short basket is off to the right through the trees. I just panned over real quickly there to the short basket. To either basket, a good throw should set up a birdie opportunity because this is a pretty short hole. I want to welcome you back to Parking Full Time. I am Big Dave, the park's professor. There's the long basket for the 10th hole. And there's the view back down to the tee. The 11th hole continues up the same hill as the previous hole. The fairway starts out very wide open, but the basket is located in the trees, the cedar trees that you see up ahead. Those cedar trees are pretty dense, and the branches are pretty low to the ground, but there isn't much room between the trees, so you're going to have to go in under the branches. This hole's a really clever challenge to get to the basket. Let me say a word about the baskets. Most holes on this course have two baskets, and those are the two distances I'm giving you at the top of the screen. All of these video clips end at the long basket, although I'll try to pan over and show you the short basket on most holes. The 12th hole is a dead straight but super tight hole, and the fairway is just this narrow corridor carved through the dense trees, so you really need to keep your disc straight on this hole. This hole plays over a low ridge, and it may be the tightest hole on this course. Now, as I mentioned, there are two baskets on most holes. On most holes, the short basket is an old Mach 3 basket, and the long basket is a really nice veteran basket. But on this hole and the next hole, the position of those two baskets are switched. And I have no idea why it's done that way on these two holes, but that's the way it is. There's the view back to the tee from behind the long basket. Now we head back into the woods for the next two holes. The 13th hole is a winding and twisting hole that plays up to the top of a ridge and then down the other side. You'll need a left to right disc flight in order to get through the trees and get up to the top of the ridge. And then if you're playing to the long basket, you'll need a slight right to left disc flight to get down the other side of the ridge down to the basket. This is a really challenging hole, and both throws are going to need to be accurate because of the tightness mandated by the trees. I captured this video on Monday, March the 10th, and it was a beautiful day with temperatures in the upper 50s when I came here. This is a very popular course, and I saw a large number of other groups out here playing this course, even though I came here on a Monday. There's the view back uphill to the tee. The 14th hole starts from an elevated tee, and then plays gradually downhill the rest of the way to the basket. It is a super tight hole, but it's also a pretty straight hole, and so if you can keep your disc straight for about 200 feet, you're actually going to have a decent chance at birdie here. We just jumped down off of the tee, and now we're going to walk downhill the rest of the way to the basket. This is the only hole on this course with only one basket. There is a bit of a cross slope in this fairway, so keeping your disc straight is harder than you may think. You might even need to use a slight right to left disc flight in order to land into the cross slope so that you get a better bounce. There's the 14th basket. And there's the view back to the tee from behind the basket. Next come a pair of longer but more open holes that play parallel to each other but in opposite directions. This hole plays gradually downhill. The fairway is reasonably wide, but there is dense woods on either side of the fairway. And therefore, even though this is a fairly long hole, you really need to keep it reasonably straight on this hole. This hole's a really nice test, and it's a really different kind of test from anything that we've seen so far. Overall, this course is very well balanced. It's not too long, it's not too short, it's not too open, and it's not too wooded. It has a little bit of everything, and it offers a really nice combination of really good holes. I just panned to the right to show you the short basket, and now we're coming up to the long basket. Many of the short baskets on this course are shorter, but some of them aren't really any easier because they require a sharply bent disc flight in order to get to. That's kind of unusual, and it adds to the intrigue and the well-designedness of this course. The 16th hole plays back uphill. It is the longest hole on this course. It has a really wide fairway, although there are some pine trees up here that dot the fairway, especially as we get closer to the basket. I want to take the opportunity of this hole's length to thank you for watching. Parking full time would not be anything without the people who watch. I realize that every day, and I heartily thank you every day. Also, I took a vow many years ago not to make any monetary compensation for anything I do for this project, and I have maintained that vow. So all I get for making these videos and writing these course reviews are your likes, your subscribes, your views, and your comments, and I do appreciate all of those things. We passed a short basket a little ways back, and now the long basket is coming into view. The last part of this hole is actually a slight dogleg left, and so you'll need a bit of a right-to-left disc flight in order to get to this basket. Again, the fairway's plenty wide, but there are a few trees there on the inside of the dogleg that you have to get around. This is a worthy par 4 if you play to the long basket. Now we head back into the woods one last time for the 17th hole. This hole plays moderately downhill, and it's a sweeping dogleg right. You want to aim at this tree about 150 feet in front of the tee, and you want to take your disc just to the left of that tree, preferably with a slight left to right disc flight. If you do that, then your disc should bounce down the hill towards the basket, and you should end up with a pretty good birdie opportunity on this hole. The downhill makes it so that the distance is not as big of a factor as the number at the top of the screen would indicate, and therefore after 2 holes where distance really was a factor, this is another hole that really demands accuracy over distance. There's the view back uphill to the tee. The 18th hole is the final hole on this course. It plays out of this narrow chute of trees, but after that it really opens up. The short basket is off to the left, so you'll need a right-to-left disc flight to get to the short basket. The long basket is ahead and to the right, and so you'll need a left-to-right disc flight to get to the long basket. Overall, I really like this course. This is not the hardest course in this area, but it provides a good fair challenge and a good fair test. It's not too short and not too long, not too open and not too wooded, not too hilly but not too flat either. It's a really good recreational course. Most players will enjoy around here, as I did. There's the 18th basket, and there's the view back to the tee from behind the basket. That is the end of the course. Have a great afternoon, take care, and Lord bless.